Hey guys, welcome back. This is going to be part 3 in our Firebase Authentication with the Composable Architecture series. Today we're going to go over sign out and sign in. This does pick up right where we left off in part 2, so if you haven't watched that video, I encourage you to go check it out. So let's take a look at what we're building. So this is going to be our sign-in page. And what we did last time was the sign up view. So we can go ahead and sign up here. And that'll bring us to our home view. And if we go to Firebase and we refresh, we should see we have this new user signed in. And if we go back here now, we go over to settings. You'll see we're signed in as test1 at test.com. We can hit sign out now. Come back to the sign in page. And now sign in. And we're back here again. So we have a full sign in, sign up, and sign out flow through Firebase by the end of this tutorial. Again, we will have the source code link in the description if you want to download that and check it out, as well as a link to the app Spriggling, which all of these features are done in. You can download and check out everything we're going to be going over on this channel. But let's start with this sign-in view. So in our authentication module, we will add a new file. We'll call it sign-in view. And let's switch over to authentication. Give that a quick build. Great. So our sign in view is going to be pretty much exactly like our sign up view. Let's move this over. Minus the confirmation password. So we can just go ahead, copy this entire view, paste it into our sign in view. Then anywhere we have sign up, we'll just replace it with sign in. Make sure we have case sensitivity on, and we'll do all. Again, now we'll do the lowercase versions. We'll do all. Now we'll get rid of these confirm passwords. So let's start with this one. Then we have the validation, get rid of that as well. Next, we have where we're checking the validation. Let's get rid of that. And then we can get rid of this entire H stack here. And then instead of sign up, we want to call this sign in. And let's give that a build. Great, and now let's see what this looks like in our preview. Perfect. So now we're going to want to add the sign up button down here at the bottom, and this will switch back and forth between our sign up and sign in views. So the first thing we'll do is we'll add some actions to handle that. So let's do case sign up button tapped. And then when we do tap this, we're going to want to send it to a delegate, which will be root, and that'll handle, like I said, the switching. So we'll add a delegate here with the sign up button tapped as well. So let's handle a catch-all for our delegate and return none. And for our actual sign up button tapped, all we're going to do is call our delegate, and we can do that right here. And we'll send that delegate the sign up button tapped. And now we should be able to go ahead and add our button down here at the bottom. And so we just copy this. We'll paste this right under the sign up button. And this will call our sign up button tapped. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, we forgot to add our delegate. So let's do delegate. That should work. Great, let's see it in the preview. Looks like we need to add a spacer at the top. Move it down in the middle. Oh, not up there. We're going to add it inside the view stack. There we go. So now when we tap this sign up button tapped action for this button down here at the bottom, we're going to call our delegate sign up button tapped. Over in our sign up view, we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to add our actions. And this is going to be a sign in button tap though. And we're going to need a delegate. And we need to define our delegate, which will just, again, contain the sign in button tapped. Hand a catch-all, return done, and then in here we're just going to do case dot sign in button tapped. We're going to do return dot send dot delegate dot sign in button tapped. Then down at the bottom, similarly, we can add our button here. And again, we'll need another spacer to keep it in the middle. Great, and now when we tap this sign in, it should send to our delegate, and which will handle the switching back and forth. Over in root, first thing we're going to do is add a new mode. So we'll do for sign in feature. And we'll actually need to handle that down here as well. So we'll do case let dot sign in. This will be sign in store, and we'll do sign in view with our sign in store. And in here in our authentication state change now, instead of defaulting to sign up on a signed out state, we want to go to sign in. This should be our sign in feature. Now we can take a look at actually handling the swapping. And so we'll take a look. Let's build first. Okay, so first thing is we'll do case dot mode dot sign in. We'll do dot delegate. We'll do sign up button tapped. And so this is when we are in the signed in state, and they tap the sign up button. So what we want to do is state dot mode is now going to equal dot sign up with the sign up feature dot state, and we'll return none. And we'll do the same for sign up. All right, let's build and see if that works. And let's see it in the preview. Okay, so you know we're defaulting now to our sign in view. If we hit the sign up button, we switch over to sign up, and vice versa, we go back. Great. So before we start adding the ability to actually sign in, let's pause and add some tests to handle this new functionality we've added. So let's start with sign up, since we already have sign up tests. We'll go into sign up tests. Now all these tests should still be valid, and the only feature functionality we added to sign up was the ability to tap that sign in button. So we can just add a new test for that. So let's do at test sign in button tapped, and here we're going to need access to a test store, and what we're all going to do is await store.send and sign in button tapped. And what we want to do is await store.receive delegate sign in button tapped. That should be all we need to test. So let's switch back over to authentication and let's do a quick build. And now let's run our test. Excellent. We can run the entire test suite as well just to verify that everything is working. So let's do that. Excellent, they all pass. Let's take a look at sign in now. So we'll need to add a new test file. We'll call this sign in tests. And similarly to our sign up view where we copied that over, we can do the same thing here with our sign up test, since the functionality is virtually exactly the same except for the confirmation view, which we can remove. So let's go ahead and just copy all of these tests into sign in tests. And then again, everywhere we have sign up, and we will replace with sign in, make sure case sensitivity is on, and then replace all. Again, we'll do this with the lowercase version of this. And then we'll search for confirm or confirm password validation. We don't really need anymore, so we'll remove that one. And down here though, this is the test that we added for when we were in sign up to switch to sign in. So we want to actually put this one back to sign up, button tapped. I believe this should all be the same. We'll move this to sign up. And we should get a sign up button tapped response. And we should be able to just run all these and check. Let's do a quick build first. Great, let's just go ahead and run the whole suite. Oh, we forgot to remove this confirm password. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. Let's make sure we're getting everyone. So let's get rid of this. And we don't need that one anymore either. And let's try that again. Great, all of the tests pass. So now we have the ability to sign into the app and sign up. The last piece of the puzzle is the ability to sign out. And we'll do that in the settings view. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So currently in settings, we basically just have an empty view. So we want to add the ability to send the sign out request to our authentication client. So first thing, let's just import authentication client. And now we should be able to go ahead and add a dependency to the reducer. This reducer needs to be sendable. And then we need to add some state. State we want to add is basically we want to know if the request is in flight. So we'll do a sign out or sign out request in flight. We'll default it to false. And then also we're going to want to show our the user that we're signed in with. So we can do shared active user, and this was again set in root when we actually signed in. So we can use this shared functionality to actually display to the user, you know, what they're looking at. Next is we'll need a couple of actions, and so we'll do sign out button tapped, and then we're going to need to handle the response. So we'll do case sign out response, and we'll do a result of void response error. And now we'll actually have to handle this reducer, so we'll do reduce and state action in. We'll switch on the action. First one we'll handle is the sign up button tapped, and for now we'll just return .none. And then we'll handle the response. And we'll just do a default now as well. Return none. The other thing we're missing is we're going to want to have a cancel option, so we'll add that too for the sign out request. And let's give that a quick build. Great. So for the view, what we want to do is add the active user and the button to sign out. But to get the active user, first thing we need is to import domain. And I don't think we actually, we need to go up to our package and add those dependencies here. So we can do authentication client and domain. Go back to settings. Switch over here to settings. Let's build and see if we get that error to go away. Great. Now let's go ahead and add our view. Like I said, we're just going to add a VStack with the text for our active user. This is optional because if we're not logged in, it'll be nil. So we'll unwrap that and show unknown if it is nil. And then we'll add a little button here that just sends this sign out tapped action. And let's go ahead and see what this looks like in the preview. Great. So we're showing unknown here because obviously active user is nil. That's what we initialize it to. We can override that down here in the preview by actually setting active user to a user. We need a return here as well. And this should actually now show that we are showing the test@test.com there that we're passing in right here. So now we can add our actual request. And so up here in the sign out button tapped, what we'll do is instead of returning none, we're going to return a run. And we're going to pass send in. And we'll do wait, send, sign out response. And we'll pass in the result. And inside of here, we'll do try await self dot authentication client. Oops. Dot sign out. And we will do the cancelable. The sign out request. We'll do true. We're going to add another thing here. We have this sign out request in flight, and we could use this to show a loading indicator, but we can also use it to prevent the user from pressing sign out like a bunch of times real quick and sending a bunch of actions. So the first thing we'll do is if not state.sign out request in flight. So we only want to actually send this if there is no request in flight. And then once we're in here, we'll do state.sign out request in flight equals true. And here we'll do return none to handle that case. And now we need to handle the responses. And so the first one we'll do is easy. We'll do case sign out response. We'll do the success first. And we're not going to handle the void response. And we'll just set that request in flight to be false. And now we'll handle the failure. And again, we're going to make sure that we set this to false. And we're also going to just, for now, we could show an alert. I've shown that in other views. So for now, we're just going to print this. And then return none. We don't need this default value anymore since we're handling both the success and the failure. And let's let that build. Excellent. So that's all we really need to do in our settings view. As root actually will handle observing that state change down here. We'll get this authentication state changed. And it'll, when we go to sign out, it will set us back to the sign in state. And that's, again, all handled up in this authentication client. As you can see, when we call this sign out, all we're doing is calling the Firebase implementation of sign out. And this did change listener is what's going to handle all that for us. So last thing we want to do for settings, though, is add some tests. And let's take a look at that now. So if we go into our settings tests, we haven't really set anything up yet. So let's do that. We got import testing. We'll need to import Composable Architecture. And we'll need to, let's see, testable, import settings. And we'll need the authentication client as well. So we'll do testable, import authentication client. We have our struct for settings test. We need to make that a main actor. And our first test, we really only have one functionality here, is that that sign out button is tapped. And we could, write a test that, does the initial state and set that active user, but we did that in the preview. So let's go ahead and just write this first test for sign out button tapped. And so we will need to get a store first, testable store. So let's do let store equal test store of, and it'll be our settings feature. And our initial state will be settings feature.state. And we just need settings feature. Okay, and then we're going to override our authentication client here, similarly how we did everywhere else. So we'll do $0.authentication client equals .signout method. All we're going to do is return void. So that sets up our store. And let's just do an expectation on the sign out request in flight to make sure it's false. Then we'll do our await on the store on the sign out button tapped. And finally, we're going to wait to receive a valid response. Let's go ahead and build this. And let's just run it. Excellent. We could go ahead and add a test for success and failure, but all we're doing is printing out that error. We're not really mutating any state. So I'll leave that up to you guys if you want to add that test. But for now, this looks good. We have now added all the functionality for sign in, sign up, and sign out flow into this project. And we could actually go to the simulator and test and hit Firebase Live and verify it all works. But I want to kind of demonstrate the power of this authentication state observer and show that we can actually test this in our preview. This is the power of previews, being able to run through the entire flow and in TCA without actually hitting a live server, which you commonly will do in development. So let's show that. We have our with dependencies overriding here. So we need to add one for sign in. So we'll just copy the sign up because it's very similar. And it's going to be sign in. And it's just going to set the state to sign in, which is what we want. That's easy enough. And then we're going to want to add one for sign out. So we'll do $0.0.authentication client sign out equals, and here we're going to want to set the value to actual signed out. Signed out, and we don't want to pass in any values here. So that should be all we need, and then we will return void response, and that should be good to go. If we give it a build, we should be able to run through the whole flow. So let's, again, we're not hitting a server, so let's just do test1 test.com test123 and hit sign in. And if we go over here, we're signed in as what we entered, and we should be able to sign out and come back here, and that's great. Our sign up flow is the same, so we should be able to do test1 test.com. And then we should be test123, 3, and our sign up. Again, we're in here, and our sign out. And there we go. So this is incredibly powerful. The ability to run through our entire flow without actually needing to hit a live database. And all we used was this very simple mock authentication state observer to handle that. But let's go ahead and build to the simulator and show that it's actually working in Firebase itself. Okay, so as we see, we landed on sign in, and we can go ahead and sign up a user. So let's do that. Test2 at test.com. And let's go to this. That's good to show this error. They don't match. And let's go ahead and sign up. Signed in as test2, which is great. Let's go ahead and sign out. And then let's do test1, 2, test.com. And let's do sign in. There we go. Whole flow works. And that's it. This is a very simple implementation of Firebase Authentication with the Composable Architecture. We showed how to hit kind of a mock Firebase server using this authentication state observer. We showed the sign in and sign up and sign out with full test coverage with some validation and other things like that. It's a good starter. It's a good way to kind of learn how to do authentication, and from here you can go anywhere. You could add Firestore to it and add an onboarding flow to add more information to your user, which I may do in a future video. But for now, this is pretty good. So if you like the videos, please subscribe and like them and YouTube. And again, the source code is in the descriptions. And a link to Spriggling is there as well. And please add some comments too. If there's anything you guys want to see in the future, let me know. And I'm more than willing to add some more videos on your guys' interests. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.